You got it.
Okay. What's up, man?
So, friendly, chill, we
friendly,
chill,
friendly,
we chill.
friendly, friendly. Yeah, yeah. Don't
I'm
walk
just
in
doing,
here, or I'm gonna shoot you in the face. Like,
I'm just doing a loot run. Just doing a loot run. I'm so triggered to say that at every like encounter with a stranger now.
seriously, even to the point where like I hear boots rattling, I'm like, friendly. like,
Just looting, just looting.
yeah, yeah.
Sir, this is a bathroom.
You're like at work, just being like friendly, friendly.
I honestly, it's not far off. I do need to start saying I'm friendly when I go into the office with the amount of firefights we have to put out. But I digress. That's a whole other
Yeah,
podcast.
yeah, yeah. We're not talking about office warfare. We're talking about arc raiders. So,
Yeah.
but
Arc
yeah,
raiders.
Karosh, welcome to the podcast, my friend. It's been a long time coming, and you now officially are a caper. So, welcome to the
You
club.
finally allowed me into your world. I've entered the realm of the brigade.
You're an animated persona now. Welcome to the other side of the looking glass.
It's all powering. It can the power trip can get to you. Like what am I not capable of here?
I mean, seriously, it's just a matter of like what you request. You're like, yes, I can make you a Super Saiyan mode if you really wanted to.
Please get that. Yeah, I'd like that on the queue.
Okay.
Any ideas we come up in the middle of this, just add it to
Yeah, no, you got it, bud. Yeah, well, I mean, the thing is, like, once I get your general character down, it's just a matter of me basically making fan art of my own art to like.
And if I must say, I must add to comment on my caper that you've created for me. I really admired the beard. I was like, that's like you were giving me some, and I don't know how much behind the curtain I'm sharing here, but
yeah,
you were giving me like you know I'm going to create you, and it's going to be my iteration of you and this and that. But the only area I was a little hesitant about, I was like, okay, I trust him. I appreciate his art style. I like what he does, how he portrays people. I've seen how you've done other friends.
yeah.
And I was like, okay, if he gets the beard right, that's how I know. That's the benchmark. And you know, if there was a clapping version of me, they're clapping right now. It is the beard is respectable in this space. So I appreciate that.
Full transparency. I took a lot of time on the beard. like
it shows. No, it shows. There's care put into that beard.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's like back in the day when I started drawing and I used to do caricatures like for pay. I remember I'd have to just dial in on what was the most sort of iconic part of a person's like look, and I was like, it's your beard. like it's either the beard or the smirk, and they're all in the same area, so I'm like, I just gotta get that right. So I'm glad you like it. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. It definitely makes up for, and this isn't on you, this is a tangent. I've been loving Pokemon ZA, and the lack of beard options has, and I understand why. It's not geared towards that age group, but you know why? I had more of a beard at that age than these kids do, and I'm not feeling well represented in that regard. And this makes up for that, you know, in a lot of ways. I was like, okay, some people can do this.
Yeah. Well, as a baby
pay attention, Game Freak. Okay, take note.
I was gonna say, I'm like, as a baby-faced Asian who cannot grow facial hair to save my life. I was like, oh yeah, there's plenty of options representing me, but I get it. I get how you could feel othered by a lack of beards there. But yeah, as our friend Jason has pointed out, remember, Pokemon's a kid's game. And I'm like, oh yeah, right. Probably need to remember that. So we're doing Arc Raiders tonight.
We are doing Arc Raiders. Yes. Thanks again for having me.
Yeah, of course. I mean, do you want to give like a quick like who you are?
Sure. Thank you. For those that don't know me, my name is Karosh. I go by Kujo Prime on the interwebs. You can find my stuff everywhere. KUJO Prime, all one word. I do a lot of coverage and creation around video games and video game development. So a lot of my videos or my convention panels or anything I'm doing, I do some freelance writing too. So in any capacity, it's some way, somehow related to video games in some fashion. So we've had the pleasure of meeting, not over the creation of any of this stuff. I think our friendship predates that, but
Yeah.
Some of my earlier, we met through another game of ours, and it was a meetup that I had, and so I don't know if I feel like you and I know the story so many times, but for those that maybe not know,
Yeah, of course.
I used to do a Monster Hunter meetup in our local area, and it was like I back then Monster Hunter was a 3DS game that you could only play locally,
So,
and it was just on the cusp of 4 Ultimate at that time was the first one to start introducing online play on the 3DS, and it was fun. There's nothing I didn't like about it, but there's something special about playing in person Monster Hunter that like is so much at the core and foundation of what that game is.
yeah.
And has always been. Like it's changed now with World and everything, but I had this meetup that I was like, oh, we'll see who shows up, and we had a wide variety of friends and characters, and I remember you were one of the first that joined, and that was like over 10 years ago now.
Oh my God.
Yeah, no, I still think back to
time.
that. It's wild. So from then onward, we've had a friendship. So.
Yeah, and I mean it's been nice because our friendship has also carried through into like the content creation stuff. You are wildly more consistent than I am on it, but I mean it's been great having kind of like our friendship as the sounding board for it. So again, I'm super thankful that you were up for coming on the podcast, because obviously Arc Raiders, that is like, I think that's like our weekly hangout now, is playing this game. And
it was
yeah.
I know, and this is a guilty thing of mine when it comes to multiplayer games, and this is something that I think this hits on adjacently to Arc Raiders.
Yeah.
I think it goes back to for our age group, we go back to like having a group of friends, and many people do this, where they just have a core group of friends where they cycle through whatever multiplayer game that they're playing. They're like, hey, we're all playing Baldur's Gate. Hey, we're all playing Halo 2, or hey, we're all playing StarCraft, whatever, through those ages. I just dated myself there. But
it's okay, man.
But having that, and I feel like through whether it be creative stuff or just adulthood, it's harder and harder to set time aside to do those sorts of things. That it was as much a commitment to myself as it was to you. When I was like, Jay, I want to play this game. I think you do too. Well, I want to make a promise that let's make a friendship.
It's like pinky swear. We're gonna do this, and we're gonna play this game. Yeah, and I mean, with the amount of games that have come out, like this is like the season of dope games. Like
it's relentless, man. It's the best and worst thing at the same time.
And it just gets worse. Like December, there's a new update for Elden Ring Night Rain. There's Octopath Zero. I'm like, oh my God. Like,
Metroid. The new Metroid's coming out.
Yeah.
The Marvel Cosmic game is coming out.
Yes, yeah, which we need to play that too. Oh, damn it! There's too many games. So I mean, I would really love to have you back for Monster Hunter at some point, because I feel like we can get real deep into that.
Say when. Just say when.
I will schedule time with you, buddy. But like for Arc Raiders, this thing that we have pinky promised to play. For like the listeners out there, like at least for you, if you had to describe Arc Raiders in like one word, what would it be?
One word. Tension. That's probably the word that comes to mind when I think of that game. Just cheeks clenched.
I was gonna go with sweaty, because like I have not been this sweaty about a game since since PUBG. Right?
Oh, okay, yeah.
It gives me the flashbacks of looting while being terrified for my life. And I was like, oh, what is this? Am I having a heart attack? And it's like, nope, I just haven't played a game like this in a while. But I mean, I would argue this feels a little bit more accessible than some of these other sort of looter games. And like, it feels kind of like a magical permutation for them. Like, don't you think?
I would say there's this moniker I think that just gets tossed around a lot, because so many people with games, especially, you're like, what is this game? Like, I need you to, in layman's terms, break it down for me. Is it a Souls-like? Is it a shooter? Like, there's always you got to give it a label of some sort. And this one, like many similar to it, is it's called an extraction shooter. And what that usually entails is you enter a region or area that the game offers, and you go in trying to gather resources and you chase the thing. You're gathering resources and then trying to escape with those resources. And if you die while you're on this extraction mission or whatever escapade, whatever you picked up and or brought in with you is at liberty to be lost. Like it's like all stakes are out there. So that genre is like this moniker, and that's like the overlapping umbrella I would put this under. Arc Raiders is very much an extraction shooter-esque game, but I would say in some ways it carries some similarities to some other. It like games these days are more than just any one thing, and they like, oh, there's an element of this, an element of that. Like I would argue there's elements of roguelike aspects to this, where most of the time a very traditional like a Tarkov, Escape from Tarkov is like the most common reference that people draw for an extraction shooter. And that game is very much, you if you don't get out, you just lost whatever you brought in. But with Arc Raiders, in contrast to that, there's like a leveling or a skill tree of sorts, and regardless of whether you win or die, you die or you don't die, or you don't leave with anything or you do, you get XP, which then you could use to level up abilities, or which you can gain additional other resources passively that then let you do other things. And I think elements of that lend itself to like a replayability. So very much to your point, I think this is like a great entry point for this style of game, where that tension, like I was mentioning, is so overwhelming sometimes that it's off-putting. It's like, no, that's too much is on the line. That's like high stakes poker table. I just want to play at the kiddie table where it's like we're betting dollars, and not at the Maverick table or the Casino Royale table where it's like I'm betting my Maserati or some shit.
Yeah, for sure. I think you hit the nail on the head. I hadn't thought of it as a roguelike, but like that actually makes a ton of sense. That it's just like you don't feel the sort of loss of effort, right? Because like the game, like the other extraction shooters are very much like gambling, given there's a skill tree to it, or there's a skill curve to it, where it's like if you're skillful, then you'll escape more often than not. But the thing is, like, it's an all or nothing bet. And I think like the free loadouts, the actual like level progression of things, I think it's huge in making it. And I've heard another streamer say this, but it's the extraction shooter for the masses. Like
very much.
Yeah, and I was like, oh man, but the roguelike thing, like really, because you're right, like most of these games have sort of cross-pollinated DNA. It's just we tend to try to summarize them by putting them in a single camp, but it's like no, they're trying to kind of like ease that sort of learning curve of these sort of extraction shooters, because like at the highest tier, this game is brutal. Like I've watched a lot of like extraction shooter like streamers that are, you know, the game obviously tries to match you with similar skill set, so they've been around, and like their firefights are wild, whereas like mine is literally like daisies where I'm like walking through, I'm like friendly, and they're like friendly, right? Like everyone is just as afraid of you as they are. I think you and I have only been ganked once while we were out in the wild, and I think it's because we were being really loud.
No, are you thinking about the last session we had?
No, the one where we were, well, maybe where we were walking around, not the ones that killed us on the extraction. No, it was
okay.
I think it was when we were first learning the game, and we were like,
yeah. Someone took us out. You're right.
Yeah,
you're right.
They just like hit us out of nowhere, and there was no prox chat. They were literally just like they killed us and moved on.
Stone cold killers.
Yeah. And I was like, all right. And I mean, I guess that's like a large difference between the solo play and the group play too. But I mean, that makes sense, right? With a group, you feel a little bit more emboldened to be a stone cold killer, whereas like by yourself, it's a little bit different.
Yeah, it's so interesting. So that's the other part of this, that it's like some of my more recent interactions. So the other aspect of this game, besides it being an extraction shooter, what people may not know off the offset is when you go into this environment, it's not just you and the enemy AI, which in this world are these arc entities, these robotic like AI things that are out to kill any human. It's other players, other raiders that are out there scavenging, and so it's like that unknown of like you can exist with them or you can take, steal from each other or whatever. What's interesting to me, and this is the part where I'm like, this is it, oddly, when it's peaceful, like when you find those moments of peace that you're discussing, it feels like an MMO. because
Oh, yeah.
the last session I had, I was just roaming, and I saw someone shooting at an arc, like a flying unit, and as I was like, how do I communicate without starting this person? And you try to like in an environment where you're like everyone's just strapped to the T with a gun of some kind of trigger happy
Yeah.
on the go. You're like, how do I engage with someone without the most in a non-hostile way? And I was just like, hey, I'm just here to like kill robots. What are you doing? And he's like, I'm trying to go for something. I think it was a higher level like objectives quest or something.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, cool. Like, do you mind if I tag along? I'll help you. I'm just want to like shoot some arc. Like that's all I'm really like aiming to do. And he's like, yeah, sure. So I start roaming with him, and then we run into like one or two other people that were struggling with robots, and we were like, oh, we want these arc anyway, so we're gonna go help that person.
Mm-hmm.
And we yell friendly, and they come over and like they're also like, oh, appreciate it, and they start joining. And slowly our server, by the end of it, like 9 of us were just like just shooting any arc that got in the area. And we're just
awesome.
like, hey, you got any heavy ammo? I need some light ammo. Yeah, I got you. Oh, this one has this one. Come pick this one up. And I'm like, this feels like a weird, like, just like a MMO server where you're like, hey, I got trades, I can give you gold, or like how people describe WoW encounters where they're like, oh, I met some random player. That part of that social aspect of it, when it is very peaceful and positive in that way.
Yeah.
I don't want to say peaceful as the moniker for positive, because some people may want the combative nature.
Oh yeah, 100%.
But that peaceful route, when it is like that, and you can get an entire group of people operating like that, is so weird, and it is MMO like to me in some ways. And I'm like, wow, what the heck is going on?
Yeah. Did you see that post on Reddit where someone was complaining about how like, wow, Arc Raiders on the weekend versus Arc Raiders on a weekday, 2 completely different games?
Oh really? No, I didn't see that.
Yeah, so they were talking about how it's just like, man, like when I play on the weekdays, right? Like I just got off of an 8-hour shift. I just want to vibe. I just want to loot. And usually it's chill. Like everyone's pretty chill. Maybe there's one guy that shoots me in the face. That's fine. I've accepted that. But then he was like, yeah, but then I had the weekend off. So I was going to play all weekend, and I was getting killed on sight in solos. Like it didn't matter.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I was like, oh, that's crazy. And someone offered, they're like, you do realize teenagers get the weekends off, right? So if they're not having to do homework, they're going to be on this game probably ruining your life. And they're like, oh, I hope they get bored of it and just go back to Call of Duty or Tarkov or something like that. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. So then like I actually went with a little bit more intentionality when I was playing this weekend, just to see what he was talking about. And he was pretty dead on. Like I was still able to find friendlies. It wasn't like a true night and day, but then like I did like a couple sessions today, and I was belligerently shooting at robots, like, obviously making a ton of noise. No players tried to gank. It was refreshing.
Yeah.
But then I was like,
So would you in any ways, like if there was to be like player feedback for this, would you want there to be an incentive one way or the other to chase one thing? Because I've seen sometimes like the daily quests can be like, hey, kill other raiders, and I'm like, oh, that's having a direct order to do, like I'm incentivized now to do this, even if it's just for the day. You're incentivized. I'm wondering, like, one way or the other, does that tip the scale, or should it just be left to the human experiment of whatever people whim, like whatever the whim is of society or players?
I think the latter. Like I think that's been some of the more fascinating things about playing this game, is getting to sort of see the exposed nerve of like the gamer psyche, right?
Yeah.
Like it's interesting because like there's people, like I don't know if you did this when you played Baldur's Gate, but I played it as a straight arrow like white knight. And the funny thing is, like, I do that all the damn time. Like I cannot play the villain to save my life. I can write a villain all day long, but I cannot play a villain. Because
we are very different.
Yeah. Well, because like for me, I feel bad doing something like that, and so it's just like I tend to like actively role play a good human being. In video games, like maybe call it aspirational. I don't know.
No, I understand it. I definitely feel like that is a very healthy approach, and I would say I've done that in the past. Usually, my first run of an RPG is the let me play this good,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then if I go back, I play more mischievous or menacing. I think now, because of how like sometimes I'm like, well, this is my one shot. I want to, and it depends. I don't like to just adhere to a extreme rule one way or the other, but I do
Hmm.
tend to, if I'm left to my own devices, be like, let's shake the cage.
Yeah,
Let's rattle some people. Let's annoy, like let's get into the uncomfortable.
yeah.
And to me that, and this is maybe a deeper in the psychology side of it. Thanks for creating a therapy session.
Yeah, you know, you're welcome. That's what these are, so it's fine.
um, what I think it is it's like a healthy space for me to exercise that, as opposed to, I don't know, some people tend to do this in real life where they're
Oh,
just
interesting.
jerks, and
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
no, I can do it here, and I can, like, the same way people are like, oh, I have, I can get some aggression out, I can get some stress out. Like, you know
Okay.
what, I'm gonna just beat the crap out of these bad guys or whoever, and I don't know, yeah, it is entertaining to be like, oh, that's fun. But
I can't get over the fact that there's another human being at the other side of it, and me being
yeah,
an
yeah, no,
active dick for them. Like,
that part. So for this game, I agree with you. I don't
yeah,
want to do it. I'm less inclined to do it to other players because I know there are other players. When it's NPCs, I think I don't feel as like, I don't have as much of an emotion tied to it.
yeah.
But with another player, I don't like. I have not yet tested myself. I'm like, I kind of want to play the villain and see how that feels. I've seen there's like some YouTubers I watch where they like to do the betrayal. They're like, hey, we're just friendly, and they lure them in and then they betray them. I'm
Yeah.
like, man, I would almost rather just be the cold, like, I'm not gonna be on comms and just take people
Okay,
out.
so what we're gonna do the next time we play is we're gonna bring our Pharaoh 4s out, and we're just gonna find a high spot and just play sniper. Like,
Oh no.
like let's just be baddies.
Okay.
Because like if we just do that, right? Like if we were to do like Buried City, right? There's plenty of buildings that have like a high vantage point on like the extraction, and just be like, all right. I mean, if we're gonna be monsters, let's do it.
Yeah,
correctly.
well, okay. So now you're what I wanted to do if we were doing this is I've seen some of the equipment we can get. There's noisemakers, there's arc lures, there's all, and I would almost want to, instead of directly kill someone, just
just like pull down the whole army on them.
yeah, be like, hey, he's over there.
Oh my
That guy
God.
trying to be discreet, he's right there. All right, have fun, buddy. I'm gonna pick the scraps when they're done with you.
Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah, that would be pretty fun too. Yeah, because we get a bunch of those lures and stuff from killing arcs. So it's
'Cause-
just a matter of like throwing.
Here's the theory: if we see that they overcome it, then we could be like, hey, let's go help them, and be like, hey, dude, we just saw that crazy stuff go. Like, good job. Like, we're here to help.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, you guys, thank God you guys are here.
So we create the problem, then swoop in and be part of the solution, and then
Yes.
they thank us by giving them their purple blueprints. Yeah.
Entrepreneurs, okay, this is how you get ahead in this world, and it's a arc world.
I'm very concerned right now, dude. Like, this is not a side of you I've seen, because Monster Hunter doesn't allow this kind of villainy, but
No, it
but
doesn't.
clearly.
Well, so this is the interesting thing. I was also like, we're in the pacifism versus the raider killer, or rogue raider. I would call it. I saw some ideas of this online as well in conversation. Someone was like, "There's a DayZ mod in the game DayZ that had player bounties, and
Oh.
part of it was also tied to, like, you could make it visible how many." Like, I could see your player kill count, and I could see maybe theoretically how many heroes you've like resuscitated or saved. So it could then kind of build like what kind of person are you, and now that people can see your track record, does that like change the play in any way, or does that add any level of storytelling of like certain types of players
Yeah.
and what type of like play style they want to be, and like
Interesting.
factions in some ways? I don't know. Like it is I do agree that I like the game not having that, but I'm like, what if the players like build around that and like gravitate towards something like that? I think it'd be interesting.
I mean, that would. I feel like there's opportunity for griefing there, but that would be such a really cool world building thing. And maybe it's like a different kind of token or something like that that you could
Maybe,
be
yeah,
getting.
yeah. I
But
feel like it could be like an incentive. It's like, hey, good job. Like you've killed X number of players, but it's like a good job. You got this exclusive reward, but it's also a mark. It's
yeah.
like the players that don't like that, they're like, I see you. I know what that means. Kind of.
That's
And-
true. Yeah, it's like the what is it? It's the rogue element in when you were playing the division.
Oh, Division? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, Division. Yeah, yeah, you're like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
But then it reminds me of Helldivers as well, where like
that's true.
I remember there was one player that was known for like killing his own team before extracting, and
Mhm.
people were like, "No, we're gonna know who this person is and watch out for that player."
Yeah.
He's like bringing the community down, and it was like the community at large rallying around, like
Just
removing
hunting
that
this
kind
guy.
of toxicity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I remember that. Yeah, and people were like posting screenshots of like them killing the guy. I am glad though that the game itself never tried to address it. That it was like
Yeah.
this kind of player driven behavior that was happening, because it's like actually you do know who your killer is in Ark. Like it will tell you like so.
Yeah, it does.
Down to you.
And often, what's funny is like it'll be like, "Hey, do you want to add any friends?" And it's like recently played with. I'm like, "Do you just add the player that just killed you?" Be like, "Hey, what's up?"
Yeah, that's how you make friends, as you murder them. Like evidently,
Yeah.
that's how in the world of Ark, that is how you make friends. Oh my god, like, oh, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was gonna say like I wish that they added something in there that actually incentivized peaceful play too.
Yes.
Like
yes, 100%.
like a pacifist run where you like didn't given like there's ways of exploiting that, but like maybe the game could detect when you're in close proximity to other players and didn't shoot them, and kind of gave you like a time set bonus for playing cooperatively, like. But then they also would give you an incentive for killing each other too. So it's like offset so that both playstyles are properly rewarded. I think that would be a really interesting take, because right now they're just neutral, right? And they're just like, okay, well actually I don't know. The mission they give you to shoot people doesn't really feel neutral.
Well, it wasn't so much like a direct quest mission. It was like one of the dailies that for the deck. It was like one of the ones I would like in situations like that, if you don't want it, to be able to cycle one out.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
hey, I'm not interested in that. Give me a different like type of quest.
Yeah.
But what I had a question just in the regards of like when you and I aren't playing together, like what drives you to like some runs we want to just like we get in, we get out. And
Yeah.
other runs we're like, hey, I want to push deeper. Like, is there ever do you have a decision tree in your head where you're like, oh, this I want to go further, or like how do you weigh that? Like urgency or extraction decision.
So I've been trying to make it a point to like learn where some of the good sort of loot spots are. And so the decision tree when I'm playing by myself is, am I running a free loadout? Have I heard a lot of gunfire? Am I early enough in the session? Okay, go try for that. Otherwise, if I'm a late session join, then my decision is just kind of get what I can. Like I'm now at the point where I'm selectively pulling loot now. So like I'll grab like the blues and the greens out of things, but I'll leave the grays behind.
Yeah.
And so like I leave like half-eaten food basically as I'm running around the map. And then once it's and it's like you can bookmark it, but I'm like there's a lot of shit out there that you're just trying to loot for, and it's just like, do I need that? Maybe not. And I feel like I have to almost be intentional, even like when you and I are playing, of being like, okay, I need to hit a residential district because I need 3 toasters, right? Like,
what would you say? Yeah, I couldn't agree more, and that kind of made me think of like the gripes I have with the game. Like I love it very much. I'm enjoying like what we've been playing, and I want to keep playing.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not without gripes, and like the two that stand out to me the most is not being like the inability to discern what is and isn't valuable, to the point now where half of my Reddit feed or like my social feeds for Ark Raiders is just people drawing out like infographics of like, these are what matter. And I'm like, the fact that that's the most prominent thing people are like sharing regarding this game is that info. It feels very Monster Hunter like, where the community gathers around to provide what the game isn't sharing. What do you what do you think about like in terms of like that or other gripes?
Let me turn that sideways though. Like, do you think that's a bad thing? Right? Because like that was one of the things that made Monster Hunter feel very community driven was those kinds of weird sort of like meta information that we would pass between one another, right? Like,
Yeah, that's
like
a good point.
right. And but I mean, I don't know, because like that's there's a Monster Hunter meta discussion there as well, because like they got rid of a lot of that and it feels like it's lost some of the community.
Well, like I like it in the right way, right? So, for instance, the way that they're not involving themselves in how players like choose pacifism or chaos or going rogue, that's an element where it's like it's unspoken rules. Like if you're doing solo, it's more likely than not you're doing a looting run. You're not to really. It's a general like understanding that you're not to engage each other.
Yeah.
More often than not.
Yeah.
That's like the community rallying behind that and kind of just like making that the reality that we play. If it's about inventory management, I've dealt with Destiny about the same thing where they weren't good about inventory management, and so it pushed. Even to this day, that game is using people are using like inventory management systems that are third party.
Yeah.
And I think that is not the kind of thing. Like I like seeing it at the start, but I want to see the developers respond and be like, we hear you. We will build this into the base game or incorporate some level of. And it doesn't need to be like spoon fed, but like some level of hierarchy of like this is important or this isn't, or these are like I don't know, like or even the wish list. I feel like I have a wish list, or I don't know where I'm like where it's not discernible to me how evident my wish list is or if I've gotten anything for it. Elements of that feel much more quality of life than they do like some of the Monster Hunter stuff where it was like, oh, the game isn't telling me this, but now the information is out there, so I will find that. I now know that you can hold something to skip the quest success screen. I never knew that for forever, but someone told me. I'm like, okay, that's a one-time. I now know kind of thing.
Yeah.
I don't want it to be like an everyday, like, okay, I got to go through this menu, do that thing again.
Yeah. And I don't have a ton of experience with extraction shooters, so I don't know if this is something that other extraction shooters have solved. But like going back to your stuff about gripes, like I've learned where a couple of the good sort of like loot routes are, and those rounds that I seek those out have turned very PvP, like almost immediately, like shoot on sight. Which tells me that the players that know where those sites are, they either found them organically and are very protective of them, or they found them via streamers because they're like power gamers and they want to know where stuff is. And like, I wonder if they're going to be doing anything as far as resetting positions for these things, because otherwise it turns into like a grind loop where you're just like, everyone's just fighting over these very like specific zones. Whereas like, I know there's a certain level of RNG for just random loot that will give you something awesome, but these zones have always give like blueprints or level 4, level 5 guns. And
I see. I haven't engaged with that or encountered that yet, but I'm very curious how other I don't know many other, like all I can think of is Tarkov and maybe DayZ as like proper extraction shooters. This does share some similarities with Division, but Division was so much a subset of like the Division main game, like the Dark Zone that it had. I don't know, but I do know that they have content planned for the rest of this year, and part of that is new regions.
Okay.
And that kind of wanted me to like, I was wanting to hit, and you kind of hitting on is like what deepens the game, or like what could prevent this game from avoiding stagnation, because it's doing insanely well right now. It's sold over 4 million copies as of today.
Crazy.
It's hit like Steam peak concurrences for like multiplayer game. It's one of the highest rated multiplayer games reviewed wise in quite some time. Like the receptions there, the eyes are on this. The people are playing this game. I feel like it's a matter of like, it's on them now. The ball's in their court. Do they drop the ball, or how do they keep it going?
Yeah.
And that's where I'm also like, I don't know this genre or this style of game. Like what does success look like here? How do they continue in some fashion?
So
I don't know.
From what I've seen from other extraction shooters is they usually do a soft wipe, which like I think these guys have it in the roadmap that they're not going to do that. That's like the
no, they are. So the expedition thing,
Yeah.
that was what I was about to say. Is I believe it's like it's a player choice to do so, right?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. To actually
And if you
wipe and then prestige, I think is where it goes.
and what you do is you uh, increase some sort of passive skill set, like a permanent stash upgrade or a permanent skill boost of some sort.
Mm-hmm.
So you may be getting rid of all your resources, but you're getting something permanently that incentivizes you to want to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, but then you have to be like playing at a pretty high level to get that expedition completed too.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So it and I mean the thing is like people that are doing that are going to be sort of self-selecting themselves for like the rougher part of the game because you're just going to be kind of upscaled into the tier with everyone else at that level. The thing that
Sure.
I'm curious about in the long run because the game like you said has like this absurd amount of hype behind it right now that I'm just
Yeah.
like man, like, is this just gonna burst and then like it's gonna fall off and all that's gonna be left are the sort of like hardcore raiders? Because I mean, we've seen that happen, and there is a ton of really good games coming out, right? Like, I mean, this was competing with Battlefield when it came out, and like
Yeah.
for
And
me,
Black Ops, I think 7 is about
yeah,
to come out.
and then Battlefield's Battle Royale dropped Red Sec.
Yeah.
So like it was one of those things like I even heard the sirens call of playing Battlefield over this, where I was just like, I know what Battlefield is, and I'm like, I
Yeah.
don't know if I'm gonna like an extraction shooter. I'm glad that I took the risk to try this, but like I don't know, man. Like even for like low level players, right? So like when this thing finally hits like a Steam sale, and then you have new players coming in a year out, like who are they going to be playing against in some of the earlier levels? Like how do they kind of keep that fresh, right? Because if you mix them with the sort of grittier long term players, it's a bloodbath, and you're going to just like scare the players away. You know, like
Possibly. I definitely see that. I do think with 4 million sold, and I don't know whether that's on one console or in total, but
mm-hmm.
this is cross play. This is cross progression. So all systems are playing kind of can play potentially together,
Yeah,
which I think helps keep the community alive. We've seen other games where they segment, they're like, no, this isn't available or this isn't cross play. And so
mm-hmm.
those communities are like left to just be like, well, we're in ours and you're in yours, and then they just dwindle. I do think that helps. Um, I think I like there's some areas where I liken it to like Helldivers, where I think there's like a as long as they keep some level of a dynamicness and they do have a roadmap and they've had done there was their past game Embark's past game was the finals.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
was it was like a first person shooter type of game, and I believe they managed that one, and it's dwindled now, but I believe it was doing well for what it was and what resources it had. So I think they have like what they need to just continue. It's just like games like this that like when they go, it's just a matter of like, is this someone's third place? I think like
Mm-hmm.
people aren't looking. I'm not looking, and I don't know how many people are, but like I think people start slowly becoming like, well, I'm doing my dailies, I'm chilling, I'm doing this, or
Yeah,
I
yeah.
had a scrap run, I didn't have a good run, or I did have a good run. Same with Helldivers. I've failed missions left and right, but
Mm-hmm.
you just load up another mission and you're like, all right, let's go again.
Exactly. Yeah.
Um, I guess the other part of it to me, like you're saying with Battlefield, is so many games that are like marked for success in some way, or like, oh, the path for like a battle royale or something that you're like, this is a massive multiplayer type of game,
Mm-hmm.
often go the route of a free game. They
Yeah.
go the route of
Yeah.
this is no cost. We're going to make it all on battle passes and cosmetics, and
Yep.
that's so much what you hear from like report outs on like the latest news from major outlets, and like what execs think. They're like, just make
Mm-hmm.
it free and get it in people's hands. But this was $40 up front,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it still pulled these numbers. So I'm like, what is that like? That's definitely something that they're going to be paying attention to. Like other studios, you're going to see, I think, people trying to emulate this in some fashion in a couple of years, or even recently. Like I think the competing game with this recently, until it got shelved a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
was Bungie's Marathon. That was supposed to
Oh
be
yeah. Yeah.
also sort of like that was supposed to be PlayStation's like specific. Hey, we got an extraction shooter kind of type
R.I.P.
of game. Yeah, it's still coming out apparently. Like they
Is
just had
it?
a call. Yeah, it's set for at least as of right now they're trying to aim for fiscal year. So by March, I think.
Oh, no kidding. Oh.
They're aiming, and I'm like, I don't know how you're gonna do it. Don't send it out to die,
Yeah. Yeah,
but yeah,
that's
it's just interesting.
yeah.
The I guess the market for this type, like like you're saying, the player base and the market, and like the
Yeah.
health of that. It feels like, how do you keep that going? How do you have it in the first place? How do you do that stuff? What do you think?
Yeah, I've heard it compared to like there's a lot of sort of shouting in the subreddits, which I mean, I understand that that's very toxic reading the subreddits, but there's a quite a bit of talk where like, people that are arguing that this should be PvE are being shouted down. And I mean, the game isn't PvP and it isn't PvE, it's PvPvE, right?
Yeah,
And like that balance is really hard to sort of strike, right? Like at least in a game like this, which I feel like it feels a little bit different because Tarkov, like, and again, like Tarkov is the only thing we can really compare it to because like that's where it feels like closer in DNA. But like Tarkov explicitly tells you to trust no one, right?
yeah,
Like it goes in with the overtone of that you have fought out of a gulag and you are going to be raiding this like old military base and everyone is out to get you. Whereas this one, and like we haven't even touched on the aesthetics, like
oh god, yeah, I was about to say the same thing.
like the game feels weirdly hopeful. And it's such a strange thing considering like the sort of the lore of the game, right? Like humanity is fucked. We are underground. We are sending scavengers, and somehow there is still this kind of almost like disco pop aesthetic going on that like feels like. Do you remember Rollerdrome when it came out?
Oh yeah, I remember Roller Drum.
Yeah, so it feels like that. It very much has that kind of like almost like colorful aesthetic going on with like a retro future kind of overlay. And I don't know, man. Like I think combining the aesthetic with also these like weirdly hopeful messages in the loading screen, like seems to be doing a good job of like training people to not come into this like, a sociopath and just trying to like socialize it and talk with other players when you're playing it. So I feel like that aspect of it feels very very good as far as delineating it from other things in the space, which I think
I think you're on it, right on it with that.
yeah.
That's
And it makes me wonder, and I'm like really hopeful that it can kind of keep rolling on that. You know what I mean? Because like I've seen this before. Like I was a very early adopter of Sea of Thieves, and there was this happy-go-lucky rainbow moment in Sea of Thieves where you would be able to get the whole server, and you're like, yeah, man, like let's just get treasure. We'll split it. It's fine. And then the darkness came. and suddenly like the devs were like, okay, like let's lean in, like let's make a guild that is specifically going to pay out for murdering other players, right? And then the game became segmented, right? You had the peaceful players that wanted to sail on their happy little boat getting absolutely railroaded by these like sort of pirate hunters that would play exclusively for PvP. And like that is the nightmare that I worry about with Arc Raiders, where it's just like at the highest level and as the game progresses, that sort of rose-colored perception of the game dissipates, and we stop having the sort of like that's one of my favorite things on the socials that I've seen is like these really heartwarming sort of moments that people have been clipping where they're interacting with other raiders, where it's just like, hey man, how you doing? Yeah, for sure. Friendly though, friendly. Like but yeah, you want to just like chill, and then they just like walk around salvaging stuff together, right? And no one is dying. I'm like,
well, so I like that. I fully love that phenomena of like by just player choice, but I think I find it even more to me the larger appeal is that both do exist, that there are the friendlies and that there are the crazies, and at any given moment it could go from one to the other. You could have two players like combating and then you're just jumping in, or like you can be at edge. Like that to me is what makes this game. Like in one match we'll go from helping someone to just being like when we were on that last one where we helped some people, ran into some friendlies, we did some of our own stuff, and then we were like trying to leave and we are like, no, they're setting up to trap us, and we still like we made ourselves out of there. I was like, we got the full spectrum of that roller coaster, and that to me is that is my spark of like what makes this game kind of special personally. But I do see the merit of like I love like someone just enjoying the peace of it or just enjoying the chaos of it, or it's like that. I don't know. It's all interesting and phenomenal, and the fact that it does. I wanted to just my hope in the example you gave of like the Sea of Thieves. I don't want the developers to inject themselves in how we should be playing. I want it to just remain. Let the players choose. Like let this be that ecosystem. If we go down into the dark times, okay, that's the world we chose as a people. If we go into the good times, then we as the people chose to go in that direction, and we will like. I think it could be something that we rally behind. Of like, oh no, there's people that want to be pacifist, or people that want whatever, and I think that's like a interesting expression of what games can be. Is like it's what we're creating kind of for ourselves.
Yeah.
And then like one idea I had in my head is like, what if I was like, what if we were saying like we could become menaces or good guys? What if we became like Avengers or like heroes? Like I will survey this world, and if I see someone taking people out, I will go right those wrongs or injustices.
Dude,
or
okay. So I gotta find the clip to send to you. But there is a streamer that is full on role playing as the sheriff of the wastes.
Yeah, I saw that one. I saw
Yes, it's so good. I was
where
like,
he's just at the extraction point.
Yep.
Yeah,
and he's like,
yeah,
I will make sure that you get out, my friend. No one will harm you. And I was like, great. That is
that I
like,
love that. Like that freedom to be able to do that is so awesome and amazing, and it just that's what's going to keep games like this going. And in addition to obviously like I do want to see what I want to see them emulate is like I said with Helldivers of like how much can they just make the world like organically change, like you said, the lore and the environment we have. It's right for like where do you take it? Do you delve more into investigating the source? Do we see shifts in the hierarchy of things? Are there other hubs out there? That kind of stuff. And I'm like, yeah, it's got possibilities. Like they definitely have. I'm hoping now, based on the sales and stuff, the funding and support. So what do you then do? And they have a little bit of a roadmap, at least through the end of this year. What do they then do into next year? And how do they keep that momentum and longevity going to engage us and keep that going? So I'm hopeful like you are, and curious more than ever than of like that. But man, is it a beautiful game?
Dude, it is so pretty. Like
I like sometimes just take it. I'm like, man, this Vista. Look at that.
and then you see that Rocketeer slowly come over the side of the cliff, and you're like, ah, shoot.
So fragile, so beautiful. It's so fragile.
I really need to like pull that clip that you put up and like actually do all of the sort of memeing edits of it, where it like it like comes up. It's like, and in that moment, I knew I fucked up.
Oh yeah, I've been saving all my B-roll. I'm like, this is so funny. But the visuals are amazing. The audio is like, it hits that level of ASMR of like, oh, I love the way just everything sounds. It doesn't sound right, but it just sounds correct for this environment, this world. The footsteps, the drones, the nature.
I think it all goes back to the thing that you brought up in the beginning, which is like the tension of it. And I think like I think everything we've been talking about kind of wraps around that really well, because you were talking about how much you love the balance, right? Of like there is these wholesome moments and there is these like terrifying moments, and like having that spectrum of experience. And I feel like that tension is also done really well with the visual design, right? Like the players are all these like bright colored, like very loud outfits, which is like great because it immediately stands out. But then the aesthetics of the arcs, right, where they like are these like chrome sort of terrifying robots that just like do not give a shit, right? And you juxtapose them on an overgrown sort of post-apocalyptic world, like, oh, it's just it's chef's kiss. But there's like it's the tension of it all, right? Like I remember when we were playing together, I would spot a raider running by, and then I'd spot an arc in the distance, and then I'd spot the big arc in the distance, but then you'd see all these trees, and I was like, everything about this shot makes me nervous, but it's really cool that it's all happening.
It's eerily captivating, but at the same time alarming.
Yeah, it's like, but we have to get over there. Like, there's 3 arcs and 5 players on our way to that thing. And then I like, it was so funny when we were walking around that part of that town and you were just like, fuck it, I want to try this. And you just shot at the missile bot.
Oh God, yeah. I was feeling a little adventurous there,
A little spicy.
but that's the fun of it, is like,
yeah,
because sometimes it is a like you said, you can just sneak around, and like I think the audio is an element of it that I personally like find really impressive, where there's attention just to the audio as well, of like, oh, did I make an extra bit of sound? Did an arc hear that? Did a player hear that? Does that help me? Does that hurt me? I don't know. Like, it may alert a player to be like, hey, I should go help, or hey, they could be an enemy. Like,
yeah,
it's just everything feeds it. But and then the way where like it makes it a point to say when you're like looting certain areas, it makes quite a lot of noise, and it can take skill points to reduce that. And so yeah, just the way they just factor everything into it, like the smallest of details of that, I appreciate. But like, yeah, the aesthetic is so crazy too, because so many times like we're talking about Helldivers, we're talking about Division, we're talking about Tarkov and all these other games. The aesthetic reminds me, and that retroness makes me think of like a Fallout, like kind of like an old timey feel, but in a with a modern, like a little bit of a humor to it. But the scavenging side of it, so many times we were in like just especially when we're in houses. I think of The Last of Us, and like how that is so much a eat or a do or die kind of environment, and like what that does to that tone of like, elicit these feelings of like, I'm just scrapping to get by. I need to get what I need, and this and that.
Yeah. Oh my God. This just everything about, like, I want to play right now. Right? Like, I want to like finish this call and be like, hey dude, let's do a couple runs. But so like we're kind of getting near to the end of our time together, Krosh. But I was like, so final thoughts, right? Like, if you were given the magic wand and like you didn't have any understanding of the roadmap, what would be the thing that you would add that would make sure this game would keep moving?
I would do world like building events that are driven by story or by the environment, but that would have an impact on like the types of things players interact with. They're already kind of doing that with some of the nature aspects, like, oh, you're going at night versus you're at day. The risk versus reward is higher. I would maybe even create spaces where it's like, oh, you load into this map, you're about to enter a zone. Like, I almost feel like it should be like parts, depending on what maps you load into, those become regions for pacifist or combative regions. Like, you're entering a bloodbath. If you're going into Blood Gulch, if you go into this map, because it's just like everyone for themselves and, whatever. And that way you just like, it has a fun, like, it, to me, that builds the personality. I'm wondering if organically that'll happen of like that. But yeah, I would build world events. I would have things that just evolve and like have the players directly kind of getting to change how they play based on that.
Yeah.
So that it's constantly asking something different of the player. So there is there's much less monotony to it as time goes on. What else? I think I would liken that to Helldivers in some ways of like how they've done the world building. What else? I think that's the really biggest thing, and just stay out of its own way. I think at this point,
yeah, for sure.
Again, looking back at Helldivers, stay out of your own way. Like, so many of the things, and it wasn't always just them. It was also like PlayStation as the publisher. But like, so much of what stifled its immediate like amazingness was things that they just did to themselves.
Yeah.
I just hope the studio doesn't interfere too much when they saw so much success. So create some cool world building events and just stay out of players' ways and let them enjoy this world. What would you do?
Honestly, I would go at it from like the sort of aspect that Helldivers was doing it, where they would actively change the world due to a narrative that's going on, right? So not necessarily like have it so you're dropping into different zones, but literally be like, all right, it's the winter season, and all of the maps suddenly become like winter. Right, and it's a little bit harder to salvage, but there's
sliding.
Yeah, sliding is like literally sledding down a hill kind of thing. Like they put little hidden objectives like that where it's like sliding as far as you possibly can. But like then you get different types of arcs that might show up, right? So it's like
Yeah.
you know, like there could be like a trap arc that literally stays underneath the snow until you get too close, and you can only like detect it from like the sound design. Like they have like a little kind of clicking noise, right, or something like that. Stuff like that, I think, would be great to kind of keep the game kind of fresh. Because like I'm not like the 150 hours in 3 days player. Like I'm literally like I'm gonna squeeze an hour in every other day kind of vibe. But even I'm getting to understand some of the maps to the point where I'm like, okay, like I could do with some more content, some more map variety and stuff like that. Given I'm not the best player, but it's just I have a pretty good memory when it comes to maps for games. And so
Okay.
like I'm like, okay, here's my route for here, here's my route for there, blah 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 blah. And I'm like, that might be a me problem, but I think that that isn't going to be a problem that is only specific to me. I feel like other players who can be dedicating more time to this game have already gotten to that same exact conclusion. And I think by doing something where the world building affects the maps, affects the things that you encounter, would be huge. And the only other thing, and this is I'm kind of hesitant because the only other time that this was done well was Titanfall 2, which was having
Mechs.
well, yes. That'd be fun if you disabled an arc in a certain way and you could pilot it. Oh my god, yes, please. No.
Yeah,
Well,
let's do it.
well, so like Titanfall, famously in their multiplayer mode, you would actually have robot players, right? Like you would have humanoid like combatants that were actually just, you know, the AI in the game. And it made you as a player feel godlike, right? Because even if you were the worst player in the game, you still could take something down and you wouldn't feel bad. Whereas like if you play other shooter type games, you would if you're the worst player on the game, you're going to end up with like a 0 and 16 ratio and you're going to hate yourself. And I think for providing that kind of thing in this game would be interesting because then it would allow people to try the sort of combat without feeling the sort of guilt of hurting other players. You know what I mean? So what if like the arcs put out synthetic humans that were also scavenging? And they're not as
Jesus.
capable, right? But you would run into them in buildings, right? Like you turn a corner.
You're
and
fueling my horror here. I feel like,
it's
especially when we were talking about the AI, the voice, the modulator that you can do.
which is like my favorite feature. I'm like, please don't shoot, and it's just like the girl voice. Like, oh, you know what's funny though is I actually had that happen where I actually used the voice and then they shot me because they're like, "Goddamn Clanker, use your real voice." And I was like, "Great, no notes."
I
Fully
often
deserved.
see players using the emote "don't shoot," not just like the voice thing, which is funny.
Yeah, you know what's funny? I don't know how to emote in the game.
I think I've seen the wheel once when I was like in my customizing, but I didn't know how to pull it up. But yeah, I need to look it up.
Okay. All right. Well, Grosh, thank you, man, for talking through Arc Raiders with me today. Like it's
Of
been
course, it was a
real
pleasure.
Yeah. And if you had like on a parting note, if you had to give any sort of like tips or tricks to would be raiders out there, what would that be?
I would say be like the airbending monks and let go of all possessions you think you care about in Arc Raiders. The sooner you're okay with losing everything, the sooner you will enjoy using everything, I think.
Fantastic. All right. Thanks, brother.
Of course.
Where can everyone find you after they get off this and immediately subscribe to everything that you do? Where can
They can find me at Cujo Prime everywhere, Kujo Prime, all one word. I'm on YouTube especially. I would appreciate any subscribers there. But yeah, you can find me on all socials. Um, I'm jiving through games right now. It's a lot of I have a lot of backlog of reviews to get through. Um, and I'm just foaming at the mouth for the final episodes of Dispatch. So I'm hoping to have some thoughts on those soon,
dude. Okay,
and many other things.
That's another episode. Maybe we get the whole crew together for that one. Like maybe we can find a digital hangout for me, you, Jason, and Ken to just go off on Dispatch. I don't know if Ken's playing it, but I feel like he'd have a lot of thoughts, all things considered, since it's like
I genuinely feel like you all would. I'm very curious what everyone in that group is thinking about when they play it.
Yeah, for sure. Besides, Rule 34. Okay, anyways. Thanks again, everyone, for hanging out on the Talcate Brigade, your video game clubhouse. I'm trying out new lines. We'll see if any of them stick. But thanks again, buddy, and I will catch you later.
Have a good one.
See ya.